What is it going to take for men to wake up? Okay? What is it going to take for men to wake up? Because this is just getting worse and fucking worse. And I was actually born in Scotland, and I've got to say this: Scotland is the most misandrist dump in the world. It's probably the worst country in the world for misandry. Scotland is a feminist shithole, right? So Scotland is trying to get rid of child by jury for sex offences for men, right? Because they just want to convict men who are accused. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there, right? There's been so much nonsense going on in Scotland. And I'm going to have to do more videos covering Scotland because there's a lot of stuff that's been happening there I actually haven't covered. I've been aware of it, but I haven't covered it. Okay? But Scotland is a feminist shithole. It's a feminist shithole, right? So I'm just going to read this article. Men in Scotland who loudly boast about sexual conquests in public could face jail. Okay. So, okay. And they're going to admit in this article that women are not going to be facing this. So this is a gendered law targeting men. So can you imagine if there was a law targeting uppity black people for being loud and obnoxious, but the law doesn't target white people? Yeah, this is equivalent of that. So some women find men who boast about the sexual conquests annoying, right, and they want them jailed. Baroness Kennedy of the Shires was paid by Nicholas Sturgeon's government to conduct an investigation into misogyny north of the border. There is no such thing as misogyny. The term misogyny is hate speech. I reject the word now, 100%. There is no such thing as misogyny. Period. Okay? Men who loudly discuss their sexual conquests in public could face up to 7 years in jail under plans to criminalise misogyny in Scotland. Okay, so criminalising misogyny is like criminalising niggers, basically. We've got to lock the niggers up. We've got to lock the black people up for just existing. We've got to lock the misogynist up. The term misogynist is equivalent to the term nigger. It's just a smear word, okay? Whatever. A consultation published by the SNP government proposes creating 5 new laws designed to outlaw abusive and humiliating male behaviour, which claims stops women from fully participating in society. That's just a lie. Women participate in society more than men, so that's just a lie. Okay. So can you imagine the South African government, apartheid government, is passing 5 new laws designed to outlaw abusive and humiliating black behaviour, which claims stops white people participating in society. People will see through that bullshit right away and call it a racist law. This is a misandrist, bigoted, sexist law. And also, we've got to reclaim the term sexism from women. Sexism is something that targets men, not women, right? Okay? Like, maybe women suffer like 1% of sexism at most. And that's me being generous. That's me being generous by a magnitude of 100, okay? Under new offence of misogynistic behaviour, it will not be necessary for offender to directly address a woman who found guilty under the plans. Okay, so what this is... this is going to like give police a right to arrest men for the behaviour, even though there's no victim. Okay, so they're removing all defence barriers. They want you locked up as a misogynistic male, as a nigger. Lock the nigger up. You're getting locked up. You're getting lynched, right? This is like to to kill a mockingbird. Instead, they could watch pornography where others could see it, or have loud, graphic sexual conversations about women in public place where they can be heard by others. Do you remember Donglegate, where a man was fired from his job for making a dongle joke, and the joke wasn't even sexual, but the feminists overhearing him interpreted it as sexual, right? So you could make a harmless joke that's not even sexual, or that is sexual because you've got a right to make a sexual joke, right? Okay, right, and then you'll get locked up. That's what it is. They're out to fucking get men. Like, you give feminists power, they just get worse and worse, right? Okay, I live in the middle of nowhere in the UK. I'm far from anywhere important. But if I was in Scotland right now, I'd be protesting this. If I was in London, I'd be protesting this. I wish there was a decent men's rights organisation. Meanwhile, under a new offence of misogynistic harassment, an offence would be committed if a man shouts sexually abusive remarks at a woman in the street or uses abusive language to a girl who does not want to be chatted up. So we've seen feminists label everything abusive and label everything misogynistic. So you're going to go, hey, beautiful, right, you'll be locked up. Hey, sugar tits, right, you'll be locked up. And in this article, they admitted that women will not be held to these standards, by the way. So a woman goes, hey, big dick, she's not going to be locked up, right? It's only men who's going to be locked up. Other examples would include deliberately rubbing up against a woman in a crowded place or showing porn to a female. Right, okay. There was a man in the UK arrested for groping a woman, putting his hand in her vagina, and CCTV camera showed that it was impossible, that he was like 8 feet away from her. He never brushed up against her, but it still went to court. Okay, okay, right. There's already laws that stop you from touching people without their consent. Okay, there's battery laws, right? You don't need these new laws, all right? So they're just using these gender laws to get men, or showing porn to a female. Okay, so women can show porn to men. By the way, like I've actually been flashed by women with massive tits, and I don't like it because I don't like being flashed with something that women deny me, and I don't like being taught and says you can't have this, right? I can't get those women arrested for that, right? If I flash my penis at women, I'll get arrested. I don't want to flash my penis at women. Spoiler, but I just don't like the double standard. Okay, and also the woman flashing the tits at me, I actually don't want them arrested. I don't want them jailed because I'm not vindictive and hateful. I just don't like it. Okay, and if a gay male flashed me, right, I'd go, leave that out, and if they carry on doing it, I'd slap them one, right? And if they're particularly insistent, then maybe I'll get the police. Okay, right? In addition, let's use the gay male analogy. Can you imagine if there was these laws, anti-gay men hitting on other men laws, that were the same as this? People see it as homophobia. In addition, a new offence of stirring up hatred against women and girls can be deployed against incel male supremacist bloggers or Andrew Tate style online personalities who make inflammatory remarks about the opposite sex. We know everyone, MRAs get labelled incels, so this is going to be done to MRAs. And Andrew Tate, like he's a anti-male con artist, right? So women are allowed to say kill all men, right, and get away with it. Nothing is done about it, okay? While we're going to get arrested for making inflammatory remarks about the opposite sex, and we know that their standard is going to be very soft. Like if we criticise women at all, that be seen as inflammatory and we'll get arrested. Making rape, sexual assault, or disfigurement threats against women will also become a specific offence. That's so following an explosion in online abuse directed at women. No citation there. There's no explosion in online abuse directed against women. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. So this article is just peddling uncited lies, right? These things are already illegal, right? They're already illegal. You don't need new offences for them. So this is just to let men know the place. Can you imagine they pass a law that says making rape, sexual assault, or disfigurement threats against white people from black people is now a new specific crime? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? People see that as racist. Wow. Baroness Kennedy of the Shores was paid £1,000 a day by the S&B to conduct investigations into misogyny in Scotland. White nationalists dream of this. White nationalists dream that they could like sit around and make anti-black laws or anti-brown people laws and get paid 1,000 a day. You know, yeah, that's their wet dream. Feminists get to live their female supremacist, man-hating wet dream. In reality, we're in some bizarre alternative timeline. The plans were based on reports written by Baroness Kennedy of the Shores, who was paid 1,000 a day by Nicola Sturgeon's government to conduct an investigation into misogyny north of the border. So she was paid money to conduct an investigation into something that doesn't exist. There is no misogyny. There is only women worship, right? The Labour peer published a report last year arguing that men perpetuate daily abuses which blight the lives of women. That's a lie. That's a lie. Women actually commit more abuses against men than men against women. Men commit most domestic violence. Women commit parental alienation. Women use false accusations. Women use Me Too. They push men out of jobs. They abuse male students. Female teachers downmark male students, right? She claimed that she found women were facing an absolute horror story, lies, and warned that what was perceived as low-level harassment could prove to be the subsoil from which the more grave crime emerge. That's projection. Women use low-level harassment, right? Then they ramp it up against men more and more. And I'm going to prove this later in the video. Baroness Kennedy urged women to take part in a consultation which proposes her right proposals into Scottish law. So the apartheid South Africa urges white people to take part in the consultation so we can pass more anti-black laws. That's what it's equivalent of. Like, for far too long, the law has not been drawn from the experience of women, she said. That's a fucking lie, right? Women's whims have been catered to all the fucking time. It's time to hear from the women and girls what they think should be included in the law so they can be treated as equals and live free from abuse and degradation. So, passing female supremacist laws, but women don't live as equals. That's just fucking bullshit. 7 years prison sentences proposed. So, women glass men with bottles. I've shown this in videos before. I don't need to show this now. You can look this up on my channel. Women glass men with bottles, right? They don't get a prison sentence. Women drive over men and kill them. They deem it manslaughter only, right? And they don't go to jail, right? But so making jokes about women or boasting about your sexual conquest, you'll go to prison for 7 years. But a woman could glass you in the head with a bottle and scar you and like make you lose an eyeball, right? But she doesn't go to jail. Okay. Men are fucking niggers. We are subhumans. The SNP is also seeking views on the appropriate sanctions those found guilty of the new misogynistic offences would face. It stated the proposed maximum punishment for misogynistic harassment or behaviour is 7 years imprisonment. Look, why stop there? We might as well bring back feminist Judge Dredges, right? Judge Dredd could give the death sentence on the spot and just shoot you in the head, right? Why not bring that back for men? We're so subhuman, yeah? And I'm sure actually men would love to enforce this. You'll get like White Knight, Judge Dredges, right? You give them the power to execute men on the spot for being misogynistic. Men would love to enforce this, right? You know there's some men out there who would love to do that, right? Just pass that into fucking law, yeah? It was so subhuman. Let's stop with the pretense, right? Let's stop with the pretense. Just outright declare war on us as men and call us subhumans and see how things roll from that, eh? Criminal offences would be triggered in cases where the perpetrator perceives that the victim to be a woman, irrespective of the victim's sex or gender. So, so if you commit a crime against a woman, right, that's misogyny. So, like a mugger, right, mugs a man, right, that's A-okay, that's just a normal crime. But you mug a woman, that's misogyny. You're gonna get an extra long sentence. Okay, yeah. This is what Scotland's come down to. Women making unwanted sexually motivated advances towards men or discussing their sexual conquests in public will not face sanctions under the legislation. Yeah, they even admit it themselves. Okay, so it's not about a legal standard ethically, right? And it's not about consistent ethical legal standard. It's about a double standard being codified into law. Okay. Like bring back women only drinking fountains, right? Women only buses, women only train carriages, women only restaurants. You know, you know what? We need sex segregated schools, right? And we need to fund the male schools less and give the women's schools extra funding. Okay, go the full fucking hog with this gender apartheid, right? No half measures anymore. Okay, I want them to go all out. Just to see if men will revolt against it. The report state that the sad thing is men probably wouldn't revolt against it. You know, like what would happen is like you get some men online go, I'm a little bit upset that women have female only schools and it gets better funding, and the other men will go, shut your mouth, misogynist. Shut your mouth, you incel. You can't get laid. The other men would actually police this and enforce this, right? The report stated the justice system has been designed by men for men and needs to adapt to meet the needs of over half of society. The fact they can say this with a straight face is fucking staggering. It's like Hitler, right? Hitler in 1938, while he's rounding up the Jews and putting them in concentration camps and smashing their shops and passing laws that discriminate against Jews. Hitler has a speech saying, for too long, the legal system has met the needs of Jewish people and ignored the needs of the Aryan race. You know, it's equivalent of saying that. It's just such fucking absurdity. And, you know, in the 70s, this would make a good fucking Monty Python sketch, but this is reality. I'm laughing to cope. I'm actually really fucking angry. This is coping mechanism. A statutory abrogation of misogyny we created. It's proposed. This would mean where an offence had misogynistic motives or features, it can be punished more harshly in the same way that offences linked to racism can be. Okay. SNP Kenneth Brown said that current laws do not give adequate protection to women. So women suffer less violence and abuse than men, right? They already got extra laws to protect them, right? Okay, but it's not enough. Women need even more laws. And this is not about protecting women. This is about marginalising and degrading men. and destroying men. This is male hostile. This is the real motive behind it. Let's cut through the bullshit. Kenneth Brown, the S&P's Justice Secretary, you should change it to injustice, said women and girls are routinely humiliated, touched, groped, undermined, trolled, and objectified, both offline, online, and off. Right, trolled, online trolling. Okay, so if the term troll is used very subjectively and vaguely as well. Trolling can mean online pranksters saying silly things to terrorism, right, and harassment, right, and objectified. There's no such thing as objectification. It's a nonsense term. It's a very vague and nebulous term. You can't objectify someone because you can't not objectify them. It's a nonsense term, both offline and off. I'm subjected to threats, harassment, and abuse about their looks or desirability, stopping them from fully participating in society. So, feminist women use the term little dick energy. They call men ugly incels. So, saying a woman is ugly is now a crime, right? So, saying women are undesirable is a fucking crime now. This is fucking ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. This is a fucking outrage. This is an outrage. Although there's already a range of laws that we could use to prosecute aspects of misogynistic behaviour and abuse, they do not accurately identify the particular harm caused by misogyny. They also fail to adequately respond to problems faced by women, which is why we're consulting on further criminal reforms. So the problem faced by women is that they can't zap men enough. They can't marginalise men enough. So we need to fix the legal system to address that. Right? We can't go after men enough. We got to reform the system. Fuck. You know what? Boot Scotland out the fucking UK. Boot them. We fucking subsidise Scotland. Stop subsidising Scotland. Feminist shithole. And while criminal laws reform alone cannot be expected to eliminate misogynistic abuse, eliminate something that doesn't exist, or attitudes which perpetuate it, these specific criminal protections are an important step in challenging societies, these are particularly men's tolerance of misogyny. Okay. So, everything that feminists accuse men of doing is projection, right? Okay? This is Me Too. This is Me Too, right? This is Me Too. This is Jimmy Dore video. I'm going to watch the first few minutes of this.
Course,
what do you do?
And not of course. Anyway, whisper networks about allegations of sexual harassment and violence in the media industry. The list, in the form of a shared Google spreadsheet, was active for around 12 hours, during which time it quickly went viral.
So whisper networks, the women have set these up in the comic industry. Whisper networks are actually harassment networks. Women secretly set them up to harass men. Women who created sexual harassers lists settles $1.5 million defamation suit.
Within media circles, of course it would. Upon learning that BuzzFeed intended to publish an article about it, Donegan then took it down.
Okay.
And so here it is. And so it would say, disclaimer, this document is only a collection of misconduct allegations and rumors. Rumors?
The term sexual misconduct, right, is very vague and nebulous. It's very vague and nebulous. I reject the term sexual misconduct. Something's either... because they use the term not for criminal actions, right? Like he was a little bit creepy, or he was hitting on women too much, or he made a sexist joke. Sexual misconduct. This is what feminists do all the time. They always make these things vague as possible, so they can get the man. Because it's not about protecting women; it's about getting the man. But I reject the term sexual misconduct because it's too vague.
Together a document. I'm an editor at a large news publication. I'm going to put together a rumor document that smears men. What the fuck?
Well,
Jimmy Dore, are you actually shocked at this? You've been ignoring feminist stuff for the most part. You barely cover it, okay? Because you probably don't consider it an important issue, but it is an important issue, Dore. This has been going on for years now.
Unless there was the cover of like we're the best feminists ever, it wouldn't be able to be that the thing you're using rumors to run people out of jobs was real appealing to a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
Women do it all the time. Yeah.
So that's how they got it under. Oh, this is just feminine. I took a whole pile of shit back in 2015 for saying maybe don't handle this online.
Right.
That I couldn't believe.
Well, yeah, you learned the hard way then, didn't you? So Me Too is not about addressing any criminal problems. Because if you look at Me Too complaints on Twitter, a lot of it says, oh, that man's creepy, that man farts, that man burps too much, that man spreads. Like, if it was serious stuff, if it was really serious stuff, the women suffering serious accusation, the women who suffered serious violent crimes will go to the women bringing up pretty shit. They'll go, knock that off. We're talking about serious stuff here, but they don't do that. So I've got to conclude the vast majority of Me Too is just like 99% of it is false accusations. And that's me being generous again as well by a magnitude of 100. Okay, near 100% of it is just false accusations, right? Okay.
And nothing I said was wrong, by the way.
Nothing you said was wrong.
And now,
no, from what I've seen of what you said was nothing. That was the beginning of all this.
It's not the beginning of this. This has been going on for a lot longer. It's just been getting worse and worse, right? And Twitter still allows the Me Too hashtag to exist while it bans QAnon hashtags. Okay, why is Me Too allowed but not QAnon? They both hashtags used to harass people. Okay. Like QAnon spreads conspiracy theories that's led to stalking of people in real life, right? Okay, but Me Too leads to real life stalking and harassment. It leads to male suicide, by the way.
Yeah,
and
well,
so
they've been going for a starting, but the beginning was the college Title IX. Obama and Biden signed that Title IX. There was these famous cases of people like there's no hearing or anything. The college just expels you because someone said something.
Yeah.
There's been a case of a man expelled from college because a woman claimed he looked like someone who raped her, just for looking like a rapist, right? He was expelled for that. I'm glad he brings up Title IX. This is one of the few people to bring it up. I wish these people would actually talk about anti-feminist issues more, Jimmy Dore, but whatever.
Which, on the face of it, should have been a,
well, let's get through the craziness of this. So this disclaimer, this document is only a collection of misconduct allegations and rumors. Take everything with a grain of salt. If you see a man you're friends with, don't freak out. Well, how about don't put together this list then?
Don't freak out.
So it's almost like they're admitting that they know that accusations are not true. They know it deep down, right?
Names in red that you say you raped someone.
The whole point is that, yes, the whole... So then they would have, that was... this is column B. Men accused of physical sexual violence by multiple women are highlighted in red. You can edit anonymously by logging out of your Gmail. Please never name an accuser. And please never share this document with a man.
Well, I guess you screwed up when you thought you were in this together with women.
So can you imagine a white nationalist smearing gang stalking and smearing Google document, right? Okay, can you imagine that? And they says don't ever share this with a black person. Oh, by the way, I've actually had the Promo Collective has been put on a shared Google document by a feminist organisation, and they told lies about us. They accused us of harassing and stalking women, right? Okay, they just put an online document somewhere. They made accusations, didn't show any proof. They just stated them outright as fact, and it was shared on Google documents. Okay, if you do this sort of stuff on Google Documents, you should be banned from Google. Your Gmail account should be shut down.
Please don't tell anyone. She's getting sued now, and they were shared.
Well, this guy did. So this guy did sue them, just so you know, and he won. So that's the whole. I don't want to bury the lead, but I want to show you how crazy this document is. So now a lot of this is blurry, so you can't really see it. But I'm going to tell you what this says. So here is a column. And here's what it says. It says that this was this guy's infraction. This guy's infraction was he says, "Oh, sorry" a lot. That's what this says here. He says, "Oh, sorry" a lot and then makes weird sounds.
So women harass and stalk men for saying "oh, sorry" a lot and making weird sounds. Me Too is a stalking hashtag. If you look at the behaviour of the women who use the Me Too hashtag, they're not victims of sexual assault, full stop. Okay? Let's take, hypothetically, if there was women in this group who were victims of sexual assault, they would go, knock this petty shit off. We're here to expose serious crimes. So I've got to conclude that near 100% of these women don't suffer any sexual violence. Okay?
He constantly retweets Rachel Maddow, pretended not to know who Lady Gaga is.
This shows you how much many women hate men. They just absolutely hate men.
Wow.
That was the misconduct.
We'll throw him in next to the rape.
No, just give them the death sentence. Yeah? Give them the death sentence. You're male, the sentence is death.
Yeah, and then next
the
down...
red one's sexual misconduct.
There's a spoof character from Judge Dredd called Judge Dredd, Death, who goes around killing everyone. It says the crime is life, the sentence is death. It's like the crime is meldom, the sentence is death now.
Wait, look at that one. Says boops, which is worse than whoops, especially when Stopping an elevator, complains about price of Subway.
So no, another one is, will always ask you to look at memes. Watch his reaction proudly like he made the memes himself. Has theory about it. Broke up with girlfriend because she wasn't a serious reader. These are allegations that they put in this thing.
So men are not allowed to break up with their girlfriends for any reason. Okay. So isn't that controlling, coercive behavior? Okay.
Here's another one. Says nice kicks.
Oh my God.
New emailed a cat person. Emailed cat person to woman 2 weeks after it came out and was like, have you read? What? Here's another one. Says poop.
Oops.
Says boop, which is worse than whoop.
Oh, what?
Especially when stopping an elevator. Says boop, which is worse than whoop.
So what these I figured out what these women are actually doing, right? They're actually going, right. They're not saying these are crimes. What they're doing is they're saying these males are annoying, and it's potentially trying to get them. They say these males are annoying. This is how these males annoy me. Let's come up with something to accuse them of later. That's what these women are actually doing, I think.
Is there someone on here that said whoop earlier up?
I don't know. Complains about the price of Subway. Thinks he's a socialist just because, just basically the worst.
Well, they have great lives, most of these women.
Yes.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
A guy complained about this price of the Subway.
Another one here. This one down here. It says refuses to use Tinder because he thinks it's impersonal. He won't look at memes ever, even really funny ones. Likes fountain pens. Total douche.
Okay. So this is just to prove that it's women who harass men and stalk them, and there's no such thing as misogyny, but misandry is. There's no such thing as misogyny. There's only misandry and female supremacy. Yeah. Okay. Over and out.